Let's practice calculating molar mass. You'll need to have a periodic table handy. Remember that I gave you one in your introduction chapter and also in your bonding and naming chapter. So let's look at water first. This formula tells us that we have 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. So we look at our periodic table for the mass of hydrogen. Remember that your molar masses are always rounded to 2 decimals. So we're going to round the mass of hydrogen to 1.01. And we have 2 of them. So there's 2.02 grams from the hydrogen. And the oxygen, if we look at it, it's 15.9994. When we round that to 2 decimals, we get 16.00. So we get the molar mass when we add these two together of water is 18.02 grams. Remember that the mass of 1 mole of water is 18.02 grams, and the mass of 1 molecule of water is 18.02 AMUs, atomic mass units. Let's look at carbon dioxide. The formula tells us 1 carbon and 2 oxygens. If we look at our periodic table, we can see that carbon is 12.01, and we have 1 of them, 12.01. And we have 2 oxygen atoms, and we said above that oxygen is 16.00 times 2. That gives us 32. So when we add 32 to 12, we get 44.01 grams for 1 mole of carbon dioxide, or 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules. It does matter about the decimals because it will change the number of significant figures in your final answer. And if you round too much or too little, it'll actually change your final answer. If it's different enough, then I will take off points. Let's look at glucose. This is just sugar. For glucose, we have 6 carbons. So we have our 12.01 times 6. That gives us 72.06. We have 12 hydrogens. So 1.01 times 12 is 12.12. And we have 6 oxygen. So we do 16 times 6 is 96.00. And if we add all these up, we get 180.18. So remember that the molar mass is the mass of 1 mole of these molecules. There's the same number of particles for each, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, but they don't have the same mass because some molecules are smaller, some are bigger. You can see that the molar mass of glucose is much larger than the other two because the glucose molecule is very big. It has 6 carbons, 6 oxygens, and 12 hydrogens. We're going to be using molar mass a lot in this chapter, so if you have any questions, please ask.